Welcome back to another video. Bradford City have announced their third summer signing in Callum Johnson for the 24-25 season. Let me know your thoughts on this signing in the comments down below. Where do you rank it in terms of the signings we've made as well? Now we have made 3 of them. But for me, this is a very, very good signing and a good piece of business. And I'll get into that later on in the video in terms of the business side of things. But Callum Johnson is a bantam. Let me know your thoughts, like if you did, and subscribe if you're new on the road to 450 subscribers before the start of the 24-25 season. All the support is massively appreciated. Now, we'll get straight into my tick box meter. And I did think that there was one of the categories that I didn't really agree with, and that was the character one. I think it's unfair to judge people and to judge someone's character, because if I'm going to come in here and say I don't think he's got the right character to play for City, when 1, I've never met him, 2, I've barely seen enough footage of him on a football pitch, and 3, like I say, just don't know the guy, so I can't really comment good nor bad on his character. So I did think that were a bit of a problem, and I have got rid of that, and hopefully we do bring in the right characters this summer and consistently from now to the future, to the foreseeable with Bradford City, because it's something we haven't done enough and we need to get back to getting in proper characters. But the same segments remain with system. Contract is replacing CV, experience. They're both very similar things, but experience can be for young players as well, although we don't seem to be doing that much. And injury record. Now, I've graded him an 85%. There's a tick to system, there's a tick to contract, CV, experience, but there's not injury record. No surprises there. With his track record coming from Mansfield. Now, his injuries at Portsmouth, at Fleetwood, I think he was at, Ross County, and Accrington or Portsmouth. I didn't say one of those. What was okay? It was okay in terms of the injury front. He didn't have too many injuries, if barely any. When he went to Mansfield, they thought they were getting a different player, a League One standard right back who's been solid for many a season, but was at that standard what we wanted to be bringing in. But he's had so many injuries at Mansfield that they didn't feel like they could renew his contract, and I'm sure they definitely would have wanted to if it wasn't for the injuries. And that seems to be the consensus around the social media side of the Mansfield fans, saying, you know, you've got a great player there if he's fit. If you can get him fit. And we've heard that so many times before, which is worrying to us as Bradford City fans, when you're hearing former fans saying, if you can get him fit, when that's something we've heard, and we've signed those sort of players and we haven't been able to keep them fit. And that's been the downfall of us for many seasons now, but we're bringing in players who aren't fit enough to play for Bradford City. And we have just got rid of a guy in the science room who a sort of a physio, head of performance I think it is, and we're looking to bring in someone, so hopefully that can have a positive impact, because not only the injuries have been a problem for us, it's also the fact of fitness, and that's been a massive thing. And you saw it last season under Graham Alexander, the type of teams that he wants to be coaching and how he wants his teams to be setting out, that there have to be very high energetic, high, intense, fit people and fit footballers, and we haven't done that, and there's too many players who aren't fit enough physically to play for Bradford City as well as mentally, and hopefully that's a side that we can improve and are looking to improve right now, and hopefully we can get that appointment right. And that's something that David Sharp will be at the forefront of, because he said in his interviews that that's something he's looking forward to getting involved in, the academy through to the physio room and the science side of the operation, and then recruitment. And I think he's had a huge part to play in Callum Johnson coming to a football club on an initial 1-year deal with an option of another. I'm pretty sure it's an option of another anyway. And I think that is, on the contract side, why that's a big tick, is because you've got to make sure you're protecting yourself as a football club. Players have to protect themselves, managers do as well, but we're a football club and we're all here because we care and support and passionately do so in supporting Bradford City. And we've got to make sure that the people in control of our club are making secure deals, and we haven't done that enough. There's so many players who want to move on this summer and have moved on this summer already, on the Cena Taylor, who we give 2 large contracts to, and then Matty Platt, who has gone, who we didn't give a good enough contract to in terms of giving us another option of a further deal. So that's something that's a huge part that you don't really think about. And the fact that Callum Johnson, an injury-prone player, not before Mansfield, but it's proven that he has been getting injuries, and the key thing with his injuries are the non-contact injuries. Now, I mean, the injury I've seen, his last injury against Stockport, was a groin injury. He was putting a cross in and he pulled up and didn't play again for the rest of the season, I'm pretty sure. He might have come back towards the back end. He did actually, thinking about it, he came on for a couple of minutes against Barrow in the last game, and that were non-contact groin. So I think a few of them do tend to be muscular, which is the big concern. But if you're going to give him a 1 year, that's a positive, and you're securing yourself there, because if he does well in that year and he wants to move on, or whatever happens, if it's successful, then it's successful for us, and he's been a part of hopefully a third promotion for him, which is why the experience in CV gets a big tick, because he's got that experience and that know-how of how to get out of the league. And he was talking about that in his interview at the club as well, talking about if you're on a bad run, it like happened at Mansfield, people who have got that promotion, have got the experience, have the know-how of getting out of League 2 and other divisions, they know how to come together to get out of those bad ones, because everyone gets bad ones, and that's the problem that we had last season. We didn't know how to end a bad one, and we had it too many times, especially under Graham Alexander towards the back end of the season. So that's something we need to bring in the right character now to do that. So if character would, I'd probably give him a box tick for purely that. And there's the picture going around, isn't there, about him not exactly smiling, not exactly showing us his teeth in his signing on photo. I don't have too much problem with it as long as he performs well. But a picture can say 1,000 words. Every picture tells a story, as Rod Stewart sang. And I think that picture does tell a story. That if you're going to look at it on that basis, I mean, I sound like a bit of an English teacher here. We've got this poem, let's analyse every word of it and break it all down and see what the actual meaning of it is. But if you're going to do it with that picture, I suppose it could show that, he's determined, he's ready to get to business. He isn't here to have a party and to smile, he's here to work and to battle for this football club. And that sort of determined steel looks on his face that you want to see. So I suppose there's that, but then that there is a side of it that he doesn't look too bothered to be here. But he said on Twitter that that's not the case. But what's he going to be playing like? That's obviously the main thing of what you probably want to watch this video for. Who are we getting here? What type of a player is it? And for me, he's a very sort of a perfect signing for us to be making. We want a right-sided centre-back, sorry, I don't know why I couldn't say that. And we're getting one in Callum Johnson. You look at John Tompkinson last season, very good on the ball, could overlap, had pace, and was the perfect right-sided centre-back for us until he had his international duty and Dan Oyegoke came in, who was a right wing-back when he first came to a football club. But his composure on the ball, his pace at the back, his ability to carry the ball into the midfield areas and to overlap even Brad Halliday, and his delivery all made him a perfect right-sided centre-back in Graham Alexander's system. And with those two being loans, we had to replace them, and I do feel like with Callum Johnson we've got that sort of replacement in those now going into next season. Whether it means Oyegoke is going to come back now, I don't know, because if you can have both those players as right centre-back options, it is a fantastic bonus for the football club. But I do feel like it's a fantastic sign in terms of his ability to do that, to carry the ball, to be composed on the ball, to have a bit of pace. He's played there before in his career, so it might have really just shoved Oyegoke in there. We're not taking a punt on that. He's spoken in his interviews about him being comfortable to play any position on that right side, and the fact that he's played there before. And he said in his most comfortable role that he prefers to get the ball and to carry with it instead of picking up the ball in a more advanced position. He'd rather pick it up in a deeper position, which I think is a positive trait. That it shows that he's looking at playing as a right-sided centre-back, because obviously when you're bringing in a right-back, right wing-back, you do worry with the person who's already there, who's our player of the season, and Brad Halliday, who's Mr. Bradford City in terms of how he translates his performance onto a pitch, that you do get a sense of a bit of butterflies in your stomach that he could be moving on, but I don't think that's the case. And he spoke about having a bit of a friendship with him and Alex Patterson from being from the Middlesbrough Academy, and obviously it couldn't be a Bradford Citizen with Stephen Gent here if we didn't sign someone from the Middlesbrough Academy. Defensively, I think he's rock solid defensively. Every time I've seen him, Clips that I've seen from him as well, he's got good discipline, he's got good awareness of where to be, understanding his position and his area. Like I say, he's 6'2", I think he is, so he don't like height, so he can easily play there. His aerial duel stats are pretty decent when you're looking at them as well. He's got a good bit of strength about him, more strength than Oyegoke had, which again suits that right-sided centre-back position. And like I say, he's pretty good going forward. If he's playing as a right wing-back, I have no problem with that either, because he's pretty decent at taking players on and getting a good cross into the box. But I do prefer him as that right-sided centre-back. So I'm very pleased with the signing, to be honest with you. If he's a backup, it's an unbelievable signing to be bringing in as a backup to Halliday and as a maybe more natural right-sided centre-back. That's unbelievable to be pulling off that business. But if he's a starter, it's still a brilliant bit of business, and it's still a great player to have in the building to hopefully get us out of this division. And he seems aligned in that terms of vision with everyone in the football club, which is fantastic to hear. Being released because of his injuries, prove them wrong, stay fit with us, contribute to us climbing the leagues hopefully, and have a successful season next season. And if he does well, then he'll get that second season at a football club. So I'm very excited for the signing. I think he's a brilliant signing. I'd grade him at an 85% on the natural side of things. I give Sarcevic 90%. I give him 85%. Neil Byrne 75%. Hopefully our next signing is at the quality of the 85% plus as well, and hopefully we can continue with this great start to the summer, going into the pre-season and start the season strongly, which we don't tend to do very often. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on the signing of Callum Johnson, our third summer recruit. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you're new, on the road to 450 subscribers. All the support is massively appreciated. Have a good one.